How are you feeling at the moment? Honestly, because depression is clearly on the rise and there's just no question about it. If you pay attention to the news, it seems as though almost everyone is depressed. Cases have significantly increased between 1990 and 2017 in pretty much every major demographic. And obviously, you would have expected the hardest hit areas to be places like Pyongyang, North Korea, or even Damascus, Syria. Places that are undergoing true hardship compared to the rest of the world. But if we actually narrow this down, it seems as though the most depressed place, or at least city on Earth, is a lot closer to home. In fact, the Depression Awards, if you want to call them that, recently crowned an American city with the title of the most depressed, surpassing even the likes of major metropolitan areas such as New York, London and Paris. Places that obviously have their problems at the moment. So surely something must be wrong in this rural American municipality. For this is Billings, Montana, and the question is, why is everybody so depressed? So this is Billings, Montana. It has a population of about 117,000 of the 2020 census, and it's located in the southern part of the state, nestled in Yellowstone County. It was founded all the way back in 1877, and at the time was called Magic City because of its rapid growth from its founding as a railroad town. It was visited by Lewis and Clark in 1806 and was a Wild West town in the later 1800s. In the early 19th century, it was at one point the fastest growing community in the US, with it finding oil reserves nearby and creating a lot of work. Following World War II, Billings only ever increased in all real statistics, including the rates of depression and suicide, and it's not simply because of crime and drug use. So why is it? Well, if we take a look at some of the other data and statistics, another notable thing you'll find Billings ranking in is diversity, but it's not in the top spot, it's actually just outside the top 10 for the converse. One of the least diverse cities in the entire country, near another one in Montana, Anaconda. In fact, 84% of the population in the city identify as white, but what does the literature actually say about this? Well, some say socially cohesive cities are often brought on in close-knit communities with similar people, without need for explaining further what similar means. However, if we take a closer look at the data, we can see that actually some of the happiest cities in America do tend to be more diverse. If we take another example, this time using Fremont, California, not only is the city there completely mixed, with it being ranked one of the most diverse cities in America, you'll find that for the last 3 years it was also ranked one of the happiest, if not the happiest. This isn't even taking employment and economy into account, in which Fremont came only 85th. Whilst not completely related to cities, both Oof and Vuea in relatively new studies found that this is true and diversity does increase happiness, all in all giving at least part of a reason why Billings may be so depressed. But it doesn't quite end there. This is Billings on a map. As you can see, it's pretty far away from any other major cities in the area, with the Canadian border the only thing north and Yellowstone National Park being the only real thing below it. Now, the nearest other major cities are Salt Lake City, 550 miles away, Denver, 555 miles away, Seattle, 817 miles away, then Vegas and San Francisco, both around 1,000 to 1,200 miles away. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. The latter three are also very diverse and do report significantly more happiness than Billings. But even with this, hour-long drives don't make experiencing this diversity for residents worth it. Oftentimes, even if it is worth it, with an average annual salary over $15,000 lower than the national average, it would make affording such trips incredibly difficult, leading to an almost isolationist attitude in the city. And even now, this isn't all of it. Say all of these conditions are met and someone wants to explore away from Billings. With Montana being so far north and only 60 miles from Beartooth Mountains, heavy snow is often expected. And Billings gets it bad. The other year, Billings broke its own record for snowfall, with residents and your mother experiencing just over 100 inches. Here are some pictures of the roads. They're clearly not suitable for driving, nearing on 1,000 miles. The weather contributes to the isolation and thus the lack of diversity. User Ganjonimus chipped in, adding, "Eastern Montana winters can be brutal. There's nothing to do except drink and be cold. Billings' diversity problem does afflict residents firsthand. Here's another quote from a resident on Reddit. Billings has no architecture, no art, no delicious and peculiar restaurants or bars. Tech, medical and media aren't important industries, so without culture, without promising jobs, without interesting people, it gets super depressing really fast, and without remedies, the people can't find joy. There's not even any major sports teams bringing people together, so citizens are truly isolated and alone without any of this diversity aiding their culture. The problems with Billings, and likely another cause for 45,000 of its residents having depression, stems from its geography, and not just the isolation, especially with the fact that its precise location has had it subject to many natural disasters, including over the last 40 years. Firstly, in 1980, nearby volcano Mount St. Helens erupted, and the city was cased with a layer of ash an inch thick. Now, it wasn't in the direct blast radius, but it was enough to feel detrimental effects. Here's the Billings Gazette, published right after the eruption. You can hear the chaos just through the printed words. And if we take this study from Shaw, 6 years after the eruption, he found a clear link between onset depression as a psychiatric response to the effects of Mount St. Helens. We can even explore this differently though. On the other side of Billings lies Yellowstone National Park. With temperatures on the rise globally, we're seeing an increase in forest fires, especially around here. Only recently, 10,000 acres were just destroyed, leaving Billings again drenched in smoke clouds. This probably didn't even need a study, but TOW in 2021 found a direct link between experiencing forest fires and poorer mental health. And just remember, most of these people who've experienced these disasters are still alive, even though 1980, for instance, seems like a lifetime ago. And this is just related to heat. When winter comes to Billings, as we've spoken about, or at least periods of rainfall, the city is known to flood. Pipelines have also been notoriously constructed cheaply, and they're prone to bursting, causing further damage. But perhaps the most convincing flaw of Billings' geography is its altitude. Billings lies at just under 1,000 meters above sea level, which is not the highest in Montana, but if we compare it again to cities like Fremont and even London, New York and Paris, these are all less than 50 meters. With high altitudes, we found links to again cognitive difficulties and poorer mood, with some people even experiencing acute symptoms of altitude sickness if they're not used to the general elevation. So has Billings always been like this? And even with Billings' history, it seems plagued through depression. As a matter of fact, when the city first began, it did so in somewhat of a battle between itself and the neighbouring town of Coulson. Coulson was a town where there was a lot of violence, crime, and a rampant sheriff named John Liver-Eating Johnson. Due to railroad rivalry, the Montana and Minnesota Land Company chose to map out the road into Billings instead of Coulson, leading for the old town to become poorer, miserable, and everybody eventually left. The town already got off to a bad start with all these refugees, and even before, only just down the road, the site of the Battle of Little Bighorn is located. Obviously again, people undergoing trauma will have fled here. And perhaps even more tragic is the story of Sacrifice Cliff, in which the story goes, 2 teen brothers of the native Crow tribe returned to their people and found their loved ones and family had died of smallpox. Out of anguish, they blindfolded their horses and rode off the cliff. This all shows that Billings has always had the depressing element tied into it. And if we take psychology fully into the equation, and if you've seen my other videos, a huge part of depression is genetic. It's how it's been passed on for centuries. Perhaps all of these, i.e. this history and these problems with geography, have made Billings a truly depressing city, passed on into children's genes, who can never meet anyone new or learn something new to alleviate this, aka the curse of Billings. As of this, there's a lot of issues we can see resulting today. Crime in Billings is high, as is unemployment. There's a current drug epidemic going on with user Illegal Blue saying, "There's a reason Billings is known as Rehab Clinic Centre." But it's important we remember that no one's ever woken up and chosen to become addicted. This could all be a product of the looming depression of Billings, with people trying to alleviate it. There's still not even a lot to do, with the city itself strangely not being keen on hockey despite the winters. Thankfully though, it seems as though the government is trying to fight this. They've recently had a new library built, and they're trying to crack down with a new ketamine therapy and reduce drug issues and homelessness. But is this just getting rid of the effects, not the cause? For the cause may be impossible for Billings to eradicate, with each of its geography, history, location and eventually genetics being a problem. All we can do is wish the residents of Billings the best of luck in tackling the curse in the future. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. It's free and it really helps me out. See you next time.